everybody, welcome back to AG Sisters. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this American Girl beanie with a pom-pom on top. So let's get straight into the video. To make this American Girl crochet hat, the first thing you will need is some yarn. So I'm using this Super Saver Stripes in the color Parrot Stripe. And this is a number 4 weight yarn. You could probably use any 4 weight yarn, but this is the only one I've tried, so I'm definitely not sure. But yeah, and then you will need a size 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and then the last thing you will need is a tapestry needle. So go gather your supplies and let's get started. Okay, so to start out, we are going to leave about a 6-inch chain and create a slip knot with our yarn, and then we are going to take the crochet hook and tighten it, and we're going to chain 6. So we're going to skip that very first one and go into the second stitch. We're just going to be doing a single crochet, and now single crochet into each stitch until you reach the end. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then as you can see here, there are 2 loops on each stitch, and we're going to go only into the back one for each of these stitches, which will create a ribbing. So now we have reached the end of the second row, and this is what it is looking like so far. So we're going to keep repeating this ribbing pattern, going in only the back loops in each row until we have 36 rows all together. So I'll meet you back here when we have 36 rows. Okay, so I'm back and I have 36 rows now. So this is going to be the brim of our hat, and now I'm going to start putting it together. So you're going to fold it up so that the other side is with it all straight, and then you're going to start putting your hook into the stitches from the other side with the yarn on the right of you and slip stitching them together. And you're just going to keep moving along the line until you've done that with all the stitches, and this will create a neat brim. This will be the inside because part of it sticks out, but yeah, so that's all we're doing right now, and here is what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so I finished with that, and I'm going to chain 1. The side that sticks out will be on the inside, and now we're going to half double crochet in each of these rows. There are 36 rows that we did for the brim of the hat, so there will be 36 stitches of half double crochet, and I will meet you back here when I am done with my 36 stitches. Okay, I'm back and I have 36 stitches around, and I've completed my first row, so I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and now we're going to begin our next row. So I'm going to chain 1 and start half double crocheting in the next stitches as well. So we're going to do another row of half double crochets and 3 more after that, which will be 5 total rows of half double crochet, and so I will meet you back here when you have your 5 rows of half double crochet. Okay, so I finished my 5 rows, and here is what it looks like right now. And so we're going to start with our first decrease row. So we're going to half double crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then we are going to half double crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to show you a slow motion version of that so I can explain how you half double crochet 2 together. So you go into the stitch as normal, and you wrap around and pull up a loop like you would normally do, and then you go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So now you have 4 loops, and then you pull through all 4. So you're just kind of repeating it, but so that is decreasing a stitch, and then I'm going to continue this pattern until the end of this row. Okay, so I finished the row, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch and chain 1. So for this next row, we're just going to half double crochet 1 and then half double crochet 2 together. And that's all we're doing for this row, so I'll meet you back here when I'm done with this row. Okay, so now I'm ready for the last round, so I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch and chain 1. So for this last round, all we were going to do is half double crochet 2 together in with all of the stitches. So it's going to get pretty tight there at the end, but that's okay because we want the hole to be as small as possible. So I'll meet you back here when I am done with this row. And now I have finished that last round, so I'm just going to slip stitch into the first stitch. So as you can tell, there's still a pretty big hole in the top, but that doesn't really matter too much because we're going to be sewing the pom-pom on there and we're going to be using those stitches to sew it on. So that hole doesn't really matter. So just cut off a pretty big a nice size tail and just do like a chain, but then make a knot. And now we're going to take our yarn needle and sew in both of the ends. So I'm going to just go and quickly do that. So I finished weaving in the ends and now I'm going to make the pom-pom. So how I do this is I grab the yarn, I wrap it around, and then I stuff the tail in there so that it can't get out. And I just wrap this around my hand a lot. So this is a pretty small pom-pom because the hat is just for American Girl head, so it's not too big. So you just keep wrapping the yarn. So I've just about finished wrapping this yarn around my hand. That should be about this much. And now I'm going to cut a small tail. And what we're going to do is slide this off of our hands, but like keep it in that shape because it'll be so hard to get back if it's, and then we're going to cut some more yarn, a pretty good length, and then we can always cut it down. And then I'm going to just like lay it out on the table and then put my little yarn thing in the middle, and then I'm going to tie a very, very tight knot around that. Like really tight as you possibly can. Try to get it around the center too. You don't want it to be lopsided. So I finally got the knot tied, and now I'm going to literally cut along all the little loops. I'm going to cut every single one of them. And it's going to look very crazy at first, but you have to trim it down to make it all neat for the hat. So I will be showing you that in a minute. And here I made this clip very fast because it took a pretty good amount of time to get this pom-pom like the shape that I wanted and not so messy. Okay, so I finally got my yarn needle threaded, and I'm going to find that little knot, the yarn from the knot, and I'm going to stick it through there. But before I did that, I stuck it through one of the stitches, and so I'm just going to pull it through there because I'm going to sew the pom-pom onto the hat now. So leaving around a 6-inch tail around on the bottom, I would say, I'm going to start sewing this together. So I put it through one of the stitches and then onto the pom-pom. Now I'm going to go back onto the stitches, onto another stitch across from it, and back onto the pom-pom. And I'm just going to do this until I've got all the stitches or almost all of them. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we just want to make sure that it's pretty secure on the hat. And so I'll meet you back here when I'm done with that. Okay, so I finished sewing it on, and I took the piece of yarn that I was using to sew it on, and I stuck it through the hole at the bottom. And what I'm going to do to finish this off is, this is the inside of the hat, so it doesn't really need to be all neat and clean. So I'm just going to make a knot, a very tight knot at the end to keep this pom-pom secure. And then I'm just going to cut the tails. I'm not going to weave them in because no one's going to see this part, so it doesn't really matter. But here is the finished hat. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We have almost 100 subscribers, and we are so thankful to everyone who has been subscribing. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!